Hi, welcome back to Woodhill Park. Just hopefully a shorter update than my last one, what went on a bit, but just to let you know how I've been getting on with weathering and doing a bit more scenery just to bring the TMD alive. So I've weathered the track, you can see probably a little bit of footage in this update showing me doing it. I've added a few bits and pieces, substations over there that I haven't finished yet. I've just put them in place to see whether I like it there or not. And I've been adding static grass here and there just to bring it alive really, because you would have wasteland here and there. And the backdrop I've been working on bushes and stuff. Also I've been playing about with some low relief stuff at the back. Bit of weathering of some of these tanks I've been playing about with. Not entirely satisfied with them yet, but I think it may be a start of me sort of making a bit of a scratch build. So as you can see, down this way all the track is weathered. It may not be to some people's taste, but I like it to look like it's been used. Not too clinical, it's got to look like it's got some dirt on it. It's a bit cold up here, so you might find my voice is a bit strange. So I just put the heaters on, but it's pretty cold today. Put some grass down this side, just a mixture of different grasses, but I don't know whether it will stay or not. It's just to finish off the edge of the track at the moment, because I intend to do an embankment possibly all the way along here. At the moment this is just a false wall, just temporary. I've added some more fencing here and there, sort of weathered it. I used the airbrush to weather it, just so it looks like there's dirt and dust that's been thrown up by the trains. The back scene I'm thinking of changing in the summer because it's a little bit wrinkled. But at the moment I'm not in too much of a rush to do it. I've got a new one already and it's sitting ready for me to use. But at this time of year I'm not in a rush to do it. The paper seems to move between cold and hot weather anyway, so I found things come unstuck a bit in the summer because they shrink. So I'm thinking maybe do the back scene in the summer. But for now, it does the job. It's not completely naff, it does look reasonable. I've also named the TMD. I just decided Brimstone Hill, sort of a combination of things what I was thinking about. So that's what I've gone for, Brimstone Hill. Seems to have a ring to it. So this is Brimstone Hill TMD. On my layout, Woodhill Park. Right, I'm painting the rails to rust them up with a burnt sinner, which is a bit of a reddy colour to start with, but as it dries it goes quite a darker rust, which I'm hoping is what I'm trying to achieve. So if you look around the lid, It's sort of a darker rusty colour where it's gone off, but the rails in the background where I've been painting them, because they're fresh, they do look a bit redder than I would like. So hopefully as it dries it will go a bit darker, because it will be old rust, not new rust, that I'm trying to achieve. So there's a lot of work ahead of me just painting the rails now, which is time consuming, but yeah, makes everything look so much better. I don't know if you can see the difference, but I've changed my mind and I've gone for a darker colour at the front here. There's the colour what I was using, but I think it's too red and it's don't look real to me, so I'm going for a sort of duller rust, because it's been on there for years, it's not fresh. And so I've changed my mind and I'm using something called nutmeg spice, which is a colour that you can get from, I think it comes from Wilco, just ordinary, one of these test pots, but watered down a bit. It does a good job painting the rails. So I'm going to go over this other stuff I put on, which looks too red to me. You can clean the paint off with just using a rag, especially if you don't leave it too long to dry. So just need to vacuum it off afterwards though, because it flakes off, and it will polish off quite easily. That way you're not scratching the rails again. Right, it's time to get ready to spray with some acrylic leather brown with the airbrush to weather the sleepers, but I need to protect the point blades from getting covered in paint, so blue tack between them to keep the paint out. So I'm going to have to clean the blades. Right, I've finished weathering the TMD now. In the end, I only painted the rails on the main tracks because it was just taking too long to paint the edge of the rails. Plus, I knew that I would weather the ones, the tracks in the excuse me, I'll weather the tracks in the sidings a bit heavier than the main lines, so I thought it wouldn't hurt to weather the sides of the rails with the airbrush. I also put in some black oil stains here and there where locos would be standing around. So my interpretation of a TMD is quite messy, but then there's a lot of rolling stock which is just standing around, so it would be quite messy, I reckon. So I've gone for a medium to heavy weathering here. I think it goes quite well. That's just my opinion though. And it blends with what I've already done. So, next thing to do is to do what a lot of people seem to forget to do, and that's put some grass and weeds and stuff around the TMD in various places that, you know, you often see where nature sort of does its own thing between disused rails and different parts of the TMD that won't be used very often. So I shall be adding a little bit of undergrowth here and there, not too much but a little bit, and I've got the back to do to blend in. So I think it's come out pretty well. The main lines I haven't weathered as much, but I've still got a nice dirty look to them. And also when the ballast changes colour, it still looks a bit dirty as well. It's not perfectly clean. The grass I've used so far are a blend of several different grasses, which I've got here. I used some straw 7mm by Woodland Scenics, some grass, well, medium green grass 7mm, and some grass I got off that auction site somebody was selling, which was pretty good. It's called moss green, and that's 4mm. That sort of really lightens the grass in between different patches here and there. So also some early summer by model scene, I think that's about 4 or 5mm long, and some harvest gold by Woodland Scenics again. I think that's about 3mm or less. And what you end up with is not a bad mix, which I've got in here, which looks like grass that's being killed off slowly by the trains passing and the pollution and muck, but to me gives an interesting look. But as I say, it may not be staying as I do the embankment in the future, so for now it just gives a little bit of an edging to the track. I've also been revisiting my static grass applicator that I made following a tutorial on YouTube a few years ago. The new way of doing things tends to be to put the electrode behind the wire mesh at the front, and as it's safer, you don't get shocks so easily, plus it seems to work better, so I thought I'd have a go at doing that. So as you can see, I've put the electrode right down inside It's just basically a big brass nut held on by another brass nut, so you get a real good conductivity, and this seems to work very well. Very pleased with it so far, and it's enhanced my static grass applicator. Didn't take a lot to do, and because now the wire mesh is free to take off and just put out of the way when you're filling it up, plus you don't get a belt off it, so unless you put your hand down inside, touch the electrode there, you're unlikely to get any shocks. So I think that's a good improvement, and in my mind it does seem to work better. I weathered the track with to start with, a Vallejo leather brown acrylic, and I have quite good success with acrylics, you know, weathering tracks, and I'm quite happy using them. Also I used a black where there would be quite a bit of oil between the tracks, so I think it's come out alright, but it might not be to everybody's taste, and then they may want to use enamel. You can use the acrylics without worrying too much about ventilation, as they're not as harmful. Plus they dry pretty quick as well, being water based, so even though you should really use acrylic thinners to thin them down, but they're basically a lot less harmful than enamels should you breathe them in. Enough waffling on, I'll show you the track close up, see what you think. Right, that's been done with the leather brown acrylic by Vallejo. I'm quite happy with that. I put a bit of static grass in between it, mainly harvest gold, so it's a bit of dead and burnt grass. And in places like this, we're in front of the engine sheds and maintenance sheds, I've added a bit of black on the sleepers at the moment. Not sure whether I'll enhance that by buying some of the other products you can get for oil stains and stuff, but at the moment just a light dusting with the airbrush with a black acrylic. The substations I got came from that big auction site. Somebody was just selling them 3D printed. You had to put the bits together yourself, and I painted and weathered them, and you can't really see much from that, but if I hold this one up you can see after a bit of weathering that they don't look bad. I'm quite pleased with them. I bought 4 I think for about £14 delivered, and now pretty well done. And they look the part, I think, so I've got to find somewhere for the remaining 2 to go, but I'm thinking about this position for the first 2 I've got, just as it's a bit of wasteland and I'm not sure what to put there anyway. I will be carrying on adding more detailing here and there. I mean, there's endless detailing you can add, and bits and pieces. There's loads of people doing 3D parts now, some good, some not so good, but I can really enhance the detailing as I go. So for now this is probably as far as I'm going to take it, but you'll probably see things appear here and there when I'm adding them slowly. I'm also planning on adding lighting to the buildings and yard lighting at some point. I've got point motors that I'm not in a rush to do, but put underneath and work out what I'm going to do there. I've got signalling to do, which is quite a way ahead yet. There is quite a few things I've got to do to this area, even though it looks a lot more finished than it did. And I'm not too sure about the fuel tanks at the back. Tell me what you think. Do they look okay? It's my quick attempt at putting some backdrop in, really, but they were made just with cardboard tubing, really. These cardboard tubing that I got some tape on. I just cut them in half and sort of stuck them together and painted them, added detail in, really. I haven't finished adding detail. There's probably more piping I can add and whatever, but as a backdrop I don't think they've come out too bad at the moment. So I put a brick wall around the bottom to retain any fuel spills that there would have been, and I put a rather silly chimney up there at the moment. I'm not sure about that at all, but that's the Scenic brake at the moment, so I'm not sure how to cross the Scenic brake without it looking an abrupt join. But at the moment it's just an incinerator pipe, but there isn't much of a building around to represent sort of a waste industrial building, really, burning waste. But I just stuck it there until I think of something better, really, just so I don't see the seam between the greenery and the industrial scene. That refueling point over there, a low relief industrial building that can all be changed and added to as I try and improve my skills, really. Also got to add some more signage to the TMD. I tend to use the scale scene stuff. You just print out, make your own signs. They seem pretty good. That's what I use to put the nameplate on the building of the TMD. So that and a bit of plasticard makes a reasonable sign. So more signage to be put everywhere. Speed limits, you name it, there's a lot of detailing to put in. With the camera shooting footage at sort of the height that somebody would be standing at by the railway track, it does come alive and does look pretty good, I think. But there's still stuff I can work on. Whether I in the future chop off some of the lugs off points and stuff, but while they haven't got point motors, I'm leaving them because they're easy to switch over then by hand. But it's coming on. If you have any questions or ideas, I'll be pleased to hear from you in the comments, as I can't think of everything, and I'm sure there's a few ideas and things I could add to the TMD, as I'm not a total expert on the infrastructure, and I never was an anorak. I never really lived close enough to a line to spend that much time near the trains when I was young, but as I got older I did stand on a few stations, and I got the bug. I started off a model railway in my parents' loft that I was forever ripping up and changing because I wasn't happy with it, and then my brother got involved and he went through the same process, and then girlfriends come along, family come along, and I made a little silly one in my loft that you've seen in my history, that my children enjoyed and I enjoyed, but never really put full effort into it, and never decided what era I wanted to model in. But I've chosen to model in the 80s now, and I've put my full effort into this. But as I say, I don't know every little detail, and I'm quite pleased to hear from anybody that can give me some ideas. You know, I'll be much appreciated. So that's probably about it for now. I don't want to rattle on anymore, because my last one was a bit of a marathon, those 3 updates I did on the TMD. So hopefully my next one may be my 1000th one, if I'm lucky enough for you to sort of tip me over the edge. But I'm not too worried. I'm not rushing to monetize or anything. There's 4,000 hours, I think it is, or 5,000 hours of watching for $1. I'm not entirely that bothered. I'm just really happy to share knowledge, really, and further the hobby, which is a great one. So hopefully you stick with me and you enjoy what I'm doing, and help me continue this journey. So thanks for subscribing so far, and I hope you can continue to subscribe. And I've got a lot more to do, as I keep saying. I think my next project may be a bit of embankment, I'm not sure, but I've got work to do underneath first, so I'm not in a rush to do it. But I'm sure I can find another little project somewhere, and I'm thinking of doing a cab ride around the layout, maybe when I reach 1,000 subscribers. And as you know, subscribing is free. You don't pay for it, so it's a bad word really to be using. It's really just your interest in following me, really, so which I'm very grateful for. So I won't waffle on anymore. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time. Thanks very much. Bye for now.